let's look at some outcome that an individual would get based on the course content and the course experience. So the first input obviously is going to be your skills P and H values, and this will be based on your own experience and conduct during the course. Now, I mentioned earlier that there is a possibility where you could also want to get a report based on your skills P&H. In that situation, we would need access permissions from you for your P&H score values. And what we have doing is we would be explicitly asking you to email us to your skills P&H inputs. So for example, an input that could come from a participant to us would have an array of skills for which they have undergone uh, the course experience and would have objective inputs in terms of their P index or potential index, potential scores, and also the happiness index, whether this is a subjective input, because this will vary for most individuals. This is an objective input. This also will vary for most individuals, but obviously it's something which has a right and a wrong pathway forward when you attempt it. Okay, so based on this objective and subjective inputs that we get from the participant, we would be able to analyze that input. We live in a world where there's a lot of data analytics happening, right? But we seldom bother to sort of put in the effort ourselves and generate information which by itself doesn't mean anything. But when you collectively analyze that information, it's able to give us some splendid outcome and insight into ourselves. Specifically from a skills point of view, we capture that insight that we can provide back to you in terms of these four skills categories. What it really says here is that as an individual, a person who has experienced all this array of skill sets, based on the collective interpretation, the individual is pretty high on his or her cognitive skill sets. All right. Following that are the categories of social and emotional skills, then technological, and then the physical skills. So that's a skill profile. That's the first thing that you get from the report. The second thing that you get from the report is your rationalized skills pH. What this shows you is really, for example, there are these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skill sets, yeah, that you have. Now, on each of these skill set, it provides you with how are you doing on each of these skill. If you look at these skills categories, they're all pretty different. Linguistic skills, oral communication, teaching and training skill sets, critical thinking, and creative thinking. So what happens is when it comes to the real world, you're actually applying an array of skill sets. You're applying an array of skill sets that are intertwined. Yeah. And therefore, your ability to do a particular job, the effectiveness of that, and the happiness of that really depends on how you are on each of the skill set in terms of your levels of proficiency and competencies, right? So therefore, this can be an as-is situation for you, and it will be a great way to know where is your starting point, and from that is the third thing that we derive is a set of suited career paths. So, for example, here you see an array of, let's say, professions or career paths here with a score which is saying something like 5 by 5, 4 by 5. What this really indicates is that there are a number of skills required in every profession, but there are some key skills required in specific professions. And then based on your P&H inputs, your rationalized skills profile on P&H, we're able to derive, in a very rational, objective way in terms of how are your skills going to be of value in an array of professions. Now, obviously, journalism as a career path is very different than an event planning as a career path. So, what really matters is, not really the career paths, but the depth of your skills P&H scores. Yeah. So it comes back to that simple thing that we started with. If you're doing what you like and you're liking what you do, then you're actually happily skilled. And if you're happily skilled, you will get to know that the profession which is providing you the means of livelihood is not really looking like a job. It's something that you enjoy every day, going about it, doing it, and so on. So this gives you a real personalized insight in terms of the third part of the report. An additional thing that we also are looking at is providing you curated information links. But this is more or less public information. So if you kind of get to see this, which is a specific personalized insight, then obviously this information is something that you can yourself find out. But then if I leave that out, we would also kind of try and include at least 4 or 5 sort of career paths, curated information links in the report.